I mentioned this Mike Leigh movie called Naked, and it was his first big hit. It won the Cannes, I think, Golden Lion or Palme d'Or maybe. And in it, there's the main character played by David Thewlis, an actor called Johnny. And Johnny is the typical kind of working class person that you would see in the kind of stuff you mentioned in a negative tone earlier. Johnny is a stylist. He's able to quote from the Bible and other works of art here and there, but he's bullshitting. He doesn't know really anything about it. He's a drunk. He's a drifter. He's a grifter. He goes from Manchester down to London to sponge off an ex-girlfriend. Then he fucks the ex-girlfriend's roommate. Then he has a series of adventures where he's belittling people, fucking around with people. He ends up getting beaten up. He has a moment where he's lying on the floor of the ex-girlfriend's apartment, and he's just and he's going crazy. And then he ends up stealing money, and the film ends with him hobbling away from the house. And that's the kind of thing that I didn't want to do, because there are people that when I looked on YouTube I watched some videos about the movie afterwards. They think Johnny is a hero and he's a victim of society and whatnot. And that's such bullshit, because I've known, the character of Ben, as I write him, is not like that. He's a hardworking guy who does stuff. He's actually a great artist, unlike this Johnny, who could have been maybe, if he hadn't been such a dick. And that's a much more appealing. You don't have to have, first off, a character that is likable. It has to be relatable. And Johnny isn't relatable. And that's one of the flaws. Like, Jessica was much higher on the movie than I was. I think it's a good to arguably very good movie, but it's nowhere near a great movie. It's nowhere near, say, even Mean Streets, where the De Niro character is an asshole, but a more specific type of asshole. Whereas this Johnny is well acted, but is a sort of generic asshole. And we've seen this type before. You're not going to like him. You can't really relate to him, and because most assholes aren't going to see a movie like this. Mm. But Ben, on the other hand, is someone who, if you've ever worked a blue collar job on a loading dock, or at a warehouse, or in a supermarket, or custodial kind of thing, that's you're going to meet these kinds of characters, and every so often you will find someone in one of these blue collar jobs that's a bit above. But the fact of the matter is, most of the teachers. I'll give you, I think at the end of the book, I talk about how I gave some of my plays to some of the teachers. I never expected to hear from them. They never came back. And these are all English language teachers that some of them said, "Oh, yes, Dan, I'd like to read it." But I knew I'd never hear from them again, because there's not any real interest in even these people who teach English. And I think I mentioned how some of the ridiculous ways of book reports, kids nowadays write a paragraph, draw a picture, and so, anyway, it's just so dumbed down.